Good day. Today is the 25th day of March 2021, and the Feast of the Annunciation if you're Catholic. If you're not, it's just another 25th day of March. But what I'm going to speak about today, it meshes nicely with what I put out yesterday, which was transitioning from college to federal law enforcement. And this is the value of perseverance, the necessity for perseverance if you want to get a job, a good job in law enforcement, whether it's state or local or federal. Again, probably you'll apply to a number of agencies, and that is a good thing to do. Put in for as many agencies as you can that you are qualified for, that you're willing to work for, obviously. If you don't want to work someplace, don't put in there. But, otherwise, put in for it because number one, you will have a number of choices. And number two, the choice that you might make or might be the only choice, you might like working there. You might end up wanting to do that for an entire career. Again, I thought that I wanted to be a police officer, police, not federal agent. I mean, it was kind of up in the air, but had a job offer, let's say, as a Chicago police recruit or DEA agent, that would have been a tough one for me back in 1985. Okay, I didn't have that option because at the time you had to live in the city of Chicago to apply for the Chicago police, and I didn't. So I went to DEA, and when I worked there, I came out of the academy, and I was for 60 days. You work in the office where you're hired before you're transferred. And I was being transferred to Miami, and all I did was, I was on a task force with the Chicago cops. I was the new guy, GS7. So I was the only federal agent in the group. They were deputized, and at the time they were deputized marshals because the DEA did not deputize. Now the law has changed. But all they did was complain about the Chicago police and the politics and everything else, and how lucky I was to have a federal job and be going to Miami because it was quite cold. It was February, and you're still wearing your winter coat, and you're sitting in a snowbank in front of a house waiting for a crack deal to go. And they said you're really fortunate. You'll be down there with palm trees and everything else. And it turned out I'm much happier that I took the federal job. I'm gonna just use an example of somebody, and I don't know this woman, but she was the director of the Border Patrol. Her name is Carla Provost, and she was born in 1969 in Kansas, so she's a mere child. I'm joking. For me, anyway. And she grew up in Riley, Kansas, which is kind of a rural community. She was third in her class in high school, played a lot of sports. She's kind of a rough individual, I think. She went to college at Kansas State University after graduating high school. She majored in criminal justice, and when she graduated, she took a job with the Riley, Kansas Police Department. Now, her dream was to become a United States Marshal. And she started the application process. She also wanted to go in the DEA or FBI, but she started the application process with the marshals. What happened is she almost got through it, and then they had a hiring freeze, and this is 1993. So she wanted to get her foot in the door. So what can I do to get my foot in the door? Well, she applied to the Border Patrol. And she got 3 rejection letters. 3. That's pretty hard to get 3 rejection letters from the Border Patrol. It's fairly disheartening. But she put in a 4th time. She got hired as a GS5, and she had no idea where she was going. It was to Douglas, Arizona, and she hadn't really been too far out of Kansas. So she looked in her Rand McNally Atlas and thought, well, it's near Tucson. It's not too far. It's actually quite a ways away from Tucson. So she flew into Tucson to report in for work because you report into the duty station, and then from there you're sent to the academy. And they put her in the new class on the alien bus and drove them on a tour of the station. And she was thinking at the time, boy, I'm glad I'm still on leave from the police department. But she kept putting one foot in front of the other. She went to the academy. She worked in Douglas. She liked it. Turned out she liked the job. She worked her way up. And in 2018, President Trump appointed her from senior ranks of Border Patrol to be the first woman director of the U.S. Border Patrol. So there you go. You never know how something is going to work out. You may think, you don't want the job or whatever, but, she certainly, it worked out very well for her. So you never know what's going to work and what isn't going to work. But again, if you don't try, you're never going to find out. And the other thing is, again, when I look at my high school yearbook, and I look at it now and then, one thing I found is a lot of them never left the area, and I suppose that has its benefits, but it also has its detriment to it. You can be so afraid of adversity or getting hurt or dying that you never live. Okay, and that's my opinion. The chances of you getting hurt in these jobs is not all that great. Your chances of dying are not all that great. But a lot of people would say you have to be crazy to take that job. I would never take it because they think that you're going to get blown away or something. And certainly there are people who get killed in these jobs. I'm not kidding. This is serious business. But again, you can be so afraid of dying that you've never lived. There you go. So, again, the primary message today: perseverance pays off. Okay. So hopefully this has been somewhat helpful. I don't want to go too long today because my next video will be on foreign service in federal agencies, which you can do. The DEA has hundreds of agents assigned overseas as part of diplomatic missions, as does ICE has some, the FBI has some, and it's a really good thing to get into if you can once you're in the agency. It's a great experience to be part of a diplomatic mission, and it's also very remunerative. If you don't know what that means, you can make a lot of money doing it because the government pays for your housing. So hopefully this has been useful. And as always, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments or email me, and I'll see you on the next video. Okay? God bless.